Hello everyone, welcome back to Scott Rods. So yesterday, my last video was just brilliant. I managed to fix my brake pedal ratio and now my brakes work great, really nice. If you saw the last video, you know that I still have to add a return spring to the pedal. For the moment I've got a bungee cord in, which works just fine, but obviously not long term. Payday is Friday, so I'll be going to my favourite auto stores to pick up springs and what else do I need? Conduit for the wiring, that kind of stuff, to start finalising other things that I've started. But for today, finalise the brake pedal situation. I need to add a brake light switch. I need to add a little bit of metal around the top pivot. My wife was concerned that where the top pivot of the pedal joined, there just wasn't enough metal, so I'll add a bit of metal there. Obviously weld that, paint it, but mostly today will just be brake pedal wiring. So let's get on with that. So before I install stuff like this onto my car, I like to do a little bench test. So this is my bench. Let's do the test. Okay, these lights, old style lights, have two sections. Okay, the top section is the brake light bulb, the bottom is the side light bulbs, okay? And on this one there's actually a clear section underneath here that would shine down onto your license plate. Some lights will just have one section and it'll have a double filament bulb. So that one section would do both, it would do the side light and it would do the brake light. But as I say, for this, brake light, side light, this also affects the wiring that you have coming out the back. I think these were originally 6 volt, so I had to adapt them with 12 volt bulbs. But regardless, you've got 2 wires coming out the back of this one. Now the black one is actually quite off-putting because the black one on this is actually the positive for my side light bulb. So don't get too caught up in the colours here, right? It was obviously designed for an old 6 volt system. So as I say, I would need a positive feed coming through this for the side light, positive feed coming through this for the brake light, and this whole system would be earthed through the body of the light itself. So in this one I've just attached a wire from the body to the negative of the battery for this test purpose. Okay? Okay, so how does the brake pedal brake light switch work? I'll show you up close. So that's the switch. As you can see, there's 2 terminals at the back of the switch, and what this switch is basically doing is interrupting the flow of power. When the brake pedal is released, it comes back and it pushes that in, and that disconnects the power going through. When you apply the brake, it comes away from that switch and it allows the power to transmit from one terminal to the other. Basic switch, basic stuff, okay? And that's why there's adjustment here so that you can bring it closer or further away from the pedal depending on where your pedal rests. So that's pretty important. You don't want to be driving about with your brake lights on all the time. So let's wire this up and make sure it works, shall we? Now before I even test my switch, I want to make sure my bulbs are working. Remember, forget about the colour of the wires, it means nothing. All you need to know is that this wire is the positive feed for the side light. So if I connect this to the positive, it should come on. Remember, the lamp is earthed through the body of the lamp itself. I've attached it from this wire to the earth. So I attach this to the positive, this light should come on. And it does. So that's my side light, and as you can see underneath, that's where you would have your license plate for this particular lamp, which I may or may not do. So that one works. So now we test the brake light with the same way. The brake light on this lamp, again, it's not going to be the same in every car, but the brake lamp on this one is green. So if I touch that to the positive, this one should come on. And it does. And if I touch them both together, obviously they should both come on. So normally your side light would be on like that at night time, and then when you brake, top one comes on. Okay, so now we know that the bulbs work. Let's hook up the switch. So it doesn't really matter which way around these terminals go. Other terminal goes in the other side. And now, when I hook this one up to the positive, the top light should come on, which it does. In order to activate the switch, you would just press this button, and I'll show you that a bit closer. So, normal driving, your pedal would rest back on this switch. Okay? And then when you press your foot on the brake, it releases this pedal from the switch, and lo and behold, the light comes on. Brake is off, brake is on, brake is off, brake is on. And that's it. So I know the switch works, I know the light works. Now I need to figure out how to attach this to my brake pedal bracket. So the next step is to install my switch up here somewhere, and this will be much easier to do when this whole assembly is on the bench. However, I do at least need to mark roughly where this is to go, because once I take this off, I've lost this angle. So what I'll do is I'll mark roughly. Remember, I've got about 1 inch of adjustment on these threads, so as long as we're in the ballpark, we should be okay. I'm thinking I'll probably mount it about there, because I'll need to get the switch in and out of whatever bracket I make. So let's go for there, except maybe a bit closer. So I'll mark that on this bar, and on here have a straight line going across from there to there, and then I can fabricate something. The bracket itself will attach up here with a hole. This will slide into the hole and rest in hopefully the right position. I also need to work out where my return stop is going to go. That'll probably be, I'll probably make a dual bracket. Again, this has got adjustment, so I can adjust where it returns and also where it starts, because you can see there's a tiny bit of play which you actually want coming from the master cylinder, because if things heat up and swell up and expand, it can actually push that back. If this is jammed right in at the starting point of the compression, then it can actually seize your brakes when they're hot. So you need a little bit of play there. Possibly not that much, that's quite a lot. But as I say, it'll be adjustable if I use the stopper. So I'll mark this, get it onto the bench and start fabricating. So here we are at the bench, and I've come up with a little issue. So roughly speaking, my brake light switch is going to go about there, okay? So that when you press your foot in the brake, it releases the switch. When you press your brake again, it pushes the switch in. So I was just going to make a simple bracket that goes from this point up to about here, or rounded or whatever. It's going to be fairly thick steel, and it will get welded onto the underside of this, and then there'll be a hole and that will slot through. Great, easy. But I also wanted to install a return stopper, which needs to go, again, it needs to kind of rest against that side of the pedal. There's no room up there, so it would have to go down here. If I install it in that sort of area, I'm not going to have access to that switch. And if I turn them round and install that to there, then I'm not going to have access to that. What to do? Do I really need this? And it doesn't need to be this big. I would cut this down, but it's still going to have to be that way or that way. I think what I'll do for now, since today is really all about getting the brake light switch attached, I'll make the bracket for that. As I say, it's going to go roughly there. I need to weld a little flat plate on here for this to rest against, and then, as I say, there'll be a bracket going from there up to there and welds onto that. I need to make sure I've got room to get the terminals in and out, and also I need to be able to remove that without it just binding on that. So these things I need to take into account. So let's make the bracket for that first. You know, it doesn't matter how old and wise you get, you can still mess up, hence why I've got my finger in a mug of water. Don't use cheap Walmart gloves when you're grinding and cutting. Things get hot. Walmart doesn't care. It's not that bad. Yeah, don't tell my wife. Right, enough nonsense. So I've made my bracket, as you can see, pretty thick steel. It's not going to bend. It's not got a lot of pressure on it anyway. But anyway, that will go roughly there. So as you can see, when the pedal comes back, presses that little switch in. And I've set it in the middle for the moment so that I've got adjustment either way. So what I'll do, which makes sense, reinstall this back onto the car, and then I can temporarily put that up in the car, mark along here where it's to get welded on, take it off the car again, weld it up, and also address this situation here, and anything else I can think of, and obviously paint it. I'm still trying to figure out the return stop thing. I've also dropped this bracket down a fair bit, so I've got plenty of space at the back. Right, let me go and throw this in the car and mark it up, and I'll be back in a second to finalise this part. Oh, before I go, I made this little thing, which is what got molten hot and burnt my finger, and I'm going to weld that to there, so that the end of the switch has got plenty of space to rest on. It's not going to like go down the edge or anything. Not that it would, but better safe than sorry. Right, back shortly. Right, I've marked where my bracket's to go. It's to go there. So I need to weld this little plate on there, weld this on there, and then take this off, add a gusset to this and the other side, wait for it to cool down, paint it, put it back in the car. Bracket complete and painted. That looks plenty strong enough. And my pedal's done, my little bracket on the end, a little metal pad. All good. Now we know from experience this paint takes forever to dry, and I really don't want to be covered in paint, so I'll find something else to do meantime. Quick message for Ted. I dug out those front frame parts that I cut off. You're very welcome to them if you can use them. I'll give you a quick walkabout so that I don't send them to you if you can't use them. The left side looks absolutely fine. As you can see, it's got kind of a double layer of that U-channel. It's solid. I mean, it's heavy. There's a strange bit of welding there, which I'm not sure about. But see, that side is absolutely fine, apart from obviously where I chopped off the frame. Other side not so good. It's still solid, but the front end has been mangled. I'm sure you can fix that if you want it, but as I say, they are all yours if you want them, and I can send them to you, or I can drive up with them. It's up to yourself. While I remember, on the last video I was asking about fitting baby moon centre caps. So they go around this area here, and they're kind of rounded and chrome and look lovely. I'll probably paint the wheels black, the centre hubcaps, and maybe the chrome beauty ring round the outside is my plan for this year. But as you can see, there's no way to attach a baby moon onto this. So I think the only option would be to drill holes round there and add those clips, and then the cap clips over. But as I say, let me know if there's a better way to do it. Obviously there's nothing on that rim that would retain a cap unless the clip mechanism was attached to the studs and come out that way. So let me know. Right, let's do my standard test to see if the paint's dry. That mark was already there, by the way. We're good. Right, let's fit it to the car. Pedal and bracket reinstalled, so all that's left to do is add me little switch and hope I've got it all right. Looking good so far. So I've got plenty of room for adjustment. I'm going to bring it out a fair bit for now, because I still have to add my little bungee cord. Which is going to bring it up to about there. And I'm not actually sure how far down the pin goes before it actually triggers the light, so I won't know that until I plug it all in. So let us fit my high-tech bungee cord slash pedal return spring nice and tight. And now I'll wire it up and see where we're at. Right, here we go. The ignition is on. There's no light, which is a good sign. Pressing the brake now. Oh yes. You know what, I think I've got it spot on, because it's coming on kind of halfway in the slack area. You know, from where the pedal is at the top at full rest to where it first starts putting pressure on the piston, which is ideal. So you're not going to accidentally knock the brake on just by brushing your foot past it. You actually have to be pressing it. Excellent. Happy days. Another successful day on the driveway. Awesome. Very pleased with that. Right, tomorrow I have something to address, and that address would be that, yeah, I think I'm doing the driveway tomorrow. So I need to get up early, get to Home Depot, see what they've got for getting oil off of asphalt, see what I can come up with. Anyway, that's tomorrow. So thanks for tuning in again. You guys are great for putting up with all this. One day I'll actually get to drive it and you'll be along for the ride right beside me, or between me and my wife. Anyway, please subscribe if you haven't already. You don't want to miss the first drive in this. Till then, bye bye.